Thank you so much, audience, people out there. It's another episode of Astrology Obsessed. I'm Fox RedSky. Of course, I am your astrologer here in Austin, Texas. If you're ever looking for a reading, if you ever need to just get a little bit of insight, you can always go to my website, Fox RedSky astrologysalon.com. And I have a very special treat for y'all guys. As someone who has spent pretty much her entire life studying astrology in all of its forms, I have the privilege and the pleasure to introduce y'all to an incredible Mayan astrologer. His name is O'skar. Could you just introduce yourself, your name, and just like tell us a little bit about, your background and what brought you to love Mayan astrology?
My name is O'skar Madera. I call myself a Mayan Taoist time travel consultant. I am a Taoist, first of all, which means go with the flow. And I just fell in love with that. It's a philosophy, a way of living. And I've been doing that even before I found the Mayan calendar. And I discovered the Mayan calendar in Hawaii. I was stationed in Hawaii for 8 years in the military. So I had a
What
dual
branch?
Army.
Right on.
And
Right on.
I had
Thank
a
you for your
dual
service.
life. Hua. I had a dual life. Daytime during the week, I'd been doing my military stuff, but I was running clinics. I wasn't out there, humping it in the woods with this rifle or anything. I was managing it was like a hospital setting, running clinics, and so it was nice. And I had just gotten married, and I met my wife here in Fort Hood, Texas. And
Very
when they
cool.
said, "Hey, we got orders for Hawaii," I was about to get out of the Army. I was leaving the Army back in 1984.
Wow.
And they said, you got orders for Hawaii? I said, re-up. So it changed my life. And she changed my life. She was that type of person that was open-minded. And in Hawaii, it's such a culture with food and different cultures of all types. And so we were absorbing all that. And then this woman came from the Big Island to teach a class on the Mayan calendar, basically to teach us how to convert your Gregorian birthday to the Mayan calendar, because this is pre-cell phones, pre-internet. There was no such thing, not even in the like vision of that was coming. So everything was like hands-on. She had a little cardboard.
Wow.
Wheels, and it was like 4 wheels.
Old school, y'all guys.
It was so old school. And it took 8 hours
What?
to do this one little class on how to, take your birthday and then convert it, and you just spin the wheels, the inner wheel and then the outer wheel and then this other wheel. It's all symbols. And then we would find what is called your Mayan Galactic signature. It's the Mayans, so the man that started this, Dr. Jose Arguelles, went to Mexico to study calendars. And, it was every culture has calendars on when to plant, when to do this. And then we have our solar year calendar. The Mayans use the 13-moon calendar, which is, there's actually 13 moons in a year. And every moon has 28 days, like a
Right.
woman.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
13 times 28 is 364. So there's a day at a time, which we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
later.
absolutely.
And so it was very fascinating. And I have to track back. When I really got interested in the Mayans was when I read the book, The Celestine Prophecy. And he mentions the Mayans, how...
That's one of my favorite books, by the way, of all times.
Oh, my God.
I think I've bought it and given it away like at least a dozen times.
Yeah. Oh, it's a definite mind opener. But he talks about how they couldn't find why the Mayans disappeared. I mean, there's still people in the Mayan land. There's still people there, but as a core, the Mayan whole culture, they just walked off the planet. There's no evidence of them being conquered, destroyed, or anything. It was
They
like
just kind of like
it
went to
just
the other dimension.
yeah, it just stepped into another dimension. Those that because they're about free will, right? So they never forced anybody. So I feel like that core of the Mayans that they were in that high elevation and they were ready to they stepped off to another dimension and left all this beautiful knowledge and wisdom, ancient wisdom. But yeah, they couldn't find any evidence of them being conquered or destroyed. So it really caught my attention, and that's when so that was like a seed that was planted when I read that. Later, when I heard this woman was coming and teach the Mayan calendar, I just jumped on it. So now, I had this little, at first it turned into like a party game. Hey, let me give you your Mayan galactic signature. And, like me, I'm a white spectral dog. You're a blue, is it solar? No.
Eagle. I think solar because I'm a 9.
Solar eagle. And so, I would just tell you, oh, this is what, and solar means 9, the 9th moon. Me, spectral, I'm an 11 dog. And it was fun. And it was the information I was getting from that Jose created a game called Dream Spell to make it easier to learn because he had written a book called The Mayan Factor, which talked about Mayan math. And they were incredible mathematicians, by the way. And astrologers, right? They studied the heavens and everything.
Right. Absolutely.
But this book, I could not get past that first chapter. My brain was like locking up. It was so intense and so powerful, but it was just way too much information to grasp. And it was about math, and it's okay, but it's like so. Jose was he's a dragon too. He was a dragon monkey. By the way. Something about that. And so I said he must have written that book, The Mayan Factor, as a dragon, very serious, very complex. But then his monkey side created the Dream Spell, which is a game, which is a way of studying the Mayan calendar more as a game. And so that's we all love to play games. So but we to learn something so complex and so powerful, ancient, and doing it as a game, I think that was the perfect time that then I came across dreams. That's what this woman was really teaching, Dream Spell.
Okay. But
first you had to learn how to convert your Gregorian birthday to the Mayan calendar. And then once so the information that we were getting of the descriptions of the 13 moons, and then there's 20 tribes that he discovered the Mayans found considered humans to break into 20 tribes, and so they're different. And I just have to say, it's very different. The names of the tribes are very different than like what the Aztecs or the other ancients used in Mexico. And they were giving us these descriptions, and they were very poetic. They were very esoteric. They're beautiful stuff. But I would always ask, what does that mean? How does that help me? Because I always thought this is a way of learning about myself, and that I can also use it to help others learn about themselves. Kind of like what astrology does, right?
Right.
So that's how I was visioning it, more like an inner astrology. And
I like how you said that, inner astrology. That's great.
When I came up with this chart in the dream, it looked like double helix. And you have your chart. And so that's where I got the idea. It's in our DNA. So time travel, actually, it's already imprinted in us. And at the minute you're born, when we're separated from our moms, because we've been conjoined with her, right? And then all of a sudden, when we're separated, we're on our time.
Right.
The clock starts right there for us. We've been in time since we were conceived, but it's the separation that now we become individuals. Now we're traveling. We're on the journey. We're on the red road. On our own. We're on our own now.
100%.
100%. So that minute, that's why the Mayans had another calendar called the Tzolk'in, Tsoltin. No, Kin, like kin, right? And it's they take the 13 moons and they multiply it times the 20 tribes, and you come up with a 260-day calendar called the Tzolk'in. That calendar gives you the day you were born, your galactic signature, but it gives you who you are, what your energies are, what your contributions are, your natural gifts that you will carry throughout your life. And then it starts also a cycle of 52 years. And then we'd find out that you're actually born with 4 personas. Because out of the 20 tribes, the Mayans did is they divided up the 20 into 5 families, and each family has 4 tribes. So, for example, my family, it's our family,
It's our
not just
family.
my family. I'm a
our
dog. Maybe I'm in the 11. I'm a spectral dog, but I'm also a sun, and I'm an eagle, and I'm a serpent. And you're an eagle. You were born an eagle, but you're also a dog, a serpent, and a sun.
Right.
So what it says is that we're not the same person after. It cycles in 13-year cycles of 52 years. It breaks up into 4 cycles of 13 years. You don't start on 1. Like I started on 11. So 11, 12, 13. So I finished my first cycle real quick, in 3 years. Some people start as a 1, so those are easy to follow. But when we do a reading, by the way, I do readings.
Amazing readings, by the way.
We create this chart of 52 years, and from the day you were born, your relationship with time is literally laid out, and yet we have free will.
Yeah.
We can follow it, and even if you don't know it, what your chart is, what your path is in relationship to time, the way the map, it's like a map. I call it a time map. But yet, knowing this helps us understand why, we made choices. Why, if I had more information, I would have made better choices in my life.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. I would also like to share with the audience a little bit about how we met too. I've actually known O'skar for over 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
well,
over
how old is Fire Lily?
Well, it was before then.
Yeah,
it was before then.
Yeah, we just met.
Like maybe, I think because
that's right. Because
I met you in 2011.
Fire Lily was still a little.
She wasn't even a thought. She wasn't even a thought in the mind. No. So when I had met you, I was doing music full time. I had like a very rock star, purple hair, tail kind of vibe going on. I was in Austin. I was essentially like really committed to this, like, I'm going to be this rock star, this famous person. I'm going to have my name in lights. And fishnets, the whole 9 yards. I was loud and proud. And then you're like, you gave me this incredible reading, and it essentially went against everything that I wanted in the moment. And I looked at it and I was like, I don't want this. This is what I want. But everything, that's the thing. That's the beautiful thing is like, when it happened is when I look back on it. It was like, oh my God, O'skar said all of this stuff would happen, and it did. So like I was ending a 13-year cycle, which is what you were basically telling me. You're like, no, you don't want to chase this anymore. This isn't really what you're trying to do. You're actually going to be dedicating yourself to community, and you're probably going to get married, and you're going to have a baby. And I was just like, no. And then that's exactly what happened. All those things happened. And it was beautiful, and I loved, and I did, and I built so much community, and I dedicated so much of my life to creating the Native American church, to building Rockstar RedSky Ranch, to, having a place in Costa Rica. So I definitely, although I filtered out 2 husbands during that time too.
And you had a baby.
I did have a baby. She's beautiful. Fire Lily RedSky. She's awesome.
Oh, and I remember when you first told me, and I did her chart. And I said, she's a warrior. And you're like, what? And God.
She is a warrior.
Yeah,
She's
a handful, but you mentioned in her very proud, beautiful way. As
She's
even
so-
tiny, she was like this fire. She was a fire lily. Oh my God, from day one.
I have this picture of her with her arms crossed. She's like 2 years old. She's like looking like this. It's just like, girl. And she would never get sad. Like, she didn't want anyone to see her cry. She would just, if you try to go give her a hug, she'd just like push you away. I mean, now she's 11, but you know, that was a time ago. So that's how we met essentially, and it really made me keenly aware of it. And I actually still have the original. And and it's funny because I've like lost stuff all throughout that time, furniture, places, things, clothes. But that Mayan astrology chart I kept, and it was like one of the first ones. I don't know if you did, but it was it was definitely handmade.
Oh, so again, back then, you know, when I left the Army in '92, and then I went home to visit my mom in El Paso. You know, that's where I'm from. And I wanted to spend time with Mama Lupe. Her name's Mama Lupe. And I hadn't seen her in eons because, you know, I've been in the military, gone everywhere. And I was supposed to visit for a couple of weeks. I ended up staying there, I don't know, more like 2-3 years. But it was good. It was a good time to ground. And I remember I was still playing with the Mayan stuff, but I wasn't sure. Well, what happened is I joined the military specifically to get college money. You know, I was poor back in the day. I couldn't afford. I wanted to go to college, but I didn't have money or anything, and I wanted to get out of El Paso because I was suffocating. Everybody there they were happy, but they didn't care about anything outside of El Paso, you know.
Right.
Catholicism and the Dallas Cowboys, that was all they cared about. And I just saw a world out there. I imagined it, and I wanted to see it. I wanted to see the world, meet all these people that were out there. And so I figured, well, they're offering to give me money to go to college and do 3 years. So I enlisted, and that's why I really joined the military, was to go see the world, which I did. But so then that's how I ended up in Hawaii. So thank God, right? So when I was leaving, when I got out, I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up. Like, I didn't want to waste my money, the college money, on just doing anything. So I was patient, but I was in this limbo. And so it gave me time to kind of ground myself. But that's how I actually ended up in Austin. And then once I ended up here, I kind of segued from where I was going, but I'll just keep going. And I discovered, I went to Mexico City because of a woman that I met cosmically in Austin. I wasn't in Austin, it was in Lago Vista. I didn't move to Austin when I came here. And then she was all about the Mayan, Jose Arguelles. She was at the 1987 when he did the harmonic convergence. So she was all about this, right? One day I'll tell you how we met. It was very cosmic. And but they offered to pay for me to go to Mexico City, where Jose Arguelles was giving a lecture. And, you know, he's very private. He doesn't do a lot of stuff. So it was a big deal. And here I was. I went over there. I got to meet his core group. I got to learn all these other things about it. And again, it was beautiful. It was esoteric. It was very informative, but it didn't give me... What I was seeking was something to help me understand my path, my life. And so I came back to Austin determined to create my own interpretations. And I have a lot of it comes through dreams, and you probably
absolutely. That's beautiful, and I think that the ancestors talk to us that way, and we have lost a lot of information. So keep going. Tell us about this.
Well, again, there's no computers, there's no iPhones, there's nothing, no internet, and I found this little portable printer slash computer ish. Well, it was fun form, right? But there was no like iMac Max or anything that you could buy, and computers were super expensive. So this was the only affordable thing I could buy. Had a little window like this big, and then had the keyboard folded off, like flopped off, and then imagine this little. Remember how they had those little portable print typewriters?
I don't remember.
So it was kind of like it's kind of like a typewriter.
I'm a millennial.
So, but it was a big boxy thing with where you put the paper, and then it had two programs. It had a word processing program, and then they had a spreadsheet. So this is before like it would equal to like Excel, like Excel's a spreadsheet. So in my dream, I saw this chart of taking your Mayan 52-year chart that breaks up into four 13-year cycles, and it laid it out. And so with this little spreadsheet program, I was able to create the little squares and rectangles and put the names, and like your chart would have eagle, then it would go to eagle, sun, serpent, dog. Anyway, and it was all black and white. There was no color or anything. So I had to print it out in black and white, and then buy these highlighters, because it's all chromatic, by the way. It uses the four colors: the red, the blue, the yellow, and the white. So the white I would just leave it blank, because the paper's already white. But then I would have to highlight all the colors. So when I gave you your chart, it was handmade.
Wow.
So
y'all guys gotta appreciate this stuff. This is pretty good.
It was
I
labor
kept it.
intensive to do a reading. I would have to print all their charts and then color them with highlighters. It's like, because the words were there.
Right.
I mean, I could print the words, but then I had to highlight because the colors mattered. Everything it's all.
It
color
definitely
related.
does. So like, if you've never gotten a reading from him, when you're looking at your chart and stuff like that, it does help having the visual representation. It does something where it's like, oh, I get it. There's like, it's just like, there's something inside where it's like, if you're describing it to someone, because like I've tried to describe people's charts to them over the phone. Like I'm like, oh, I have your chart and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like blue, what? But then when you look at it, so definitely having a visual representation for your Mayan astrology is really, really, I feel, useful.
Yeah. So, and I think when you're first starting to learn something, when you do it hands-on and old school and it is labor intensive, but it teaches you so much. It anchors you. Yeah, you
it
really
absorbs
get
into
it. And so I appreciate all that time. Now, so when I did get a computer and I was able to, and then now you can go online and go to 13moon.com and find out what your galactic signature was, because my wheel is somewhere in boxes, and Jose Arguelles signed my wheel. Like, ooh.
That's awesome. Yeah, no. I would like to just say to the audience and to you, of course, too, is that like, unless you've experienced a reading from O'skar, like I don't know how other Mayan astrologers interpret the chart, but you definitely have a very unique blend of the Celestine prophecy and just your own intuition that is so deep on so many levels, and I can't express it to the audience enough. So yeah,
I'm glad you brought up the Celestine prophecy. So the readings were at some level, and it was given my interpretations, but in the Celestine prophecy, he talks about 4 dramas: the intimidator, the interrogator, the aloof, and the poor me. And his suggestion was to ask all our friends and family questions about ourselves. And then from that, we could decipher which one I am, which one I am. But then I had another dream, and I was asking the dream, well, if there's 4 tribes in my chart, if I am actually 4 personas, 4 tribes, and there's 4 dramas, will the dramas fit, like, will one fit each one, like and sure enough, like, our son is the intimidator, our son is the intimidator, the eagle is the interrogator, the serpent is the aloof, and the dog is the poor me. Well, my God, once dad came into the picture, the readings took a whole different shape, and they exploded.
Yeah, I agree with you. And
Because the
that's
shadow side is really important.
yeah,
And do
100%.
you have the shadow side in the astrology, right?
In the Western astrology, not
Yes,
the
sir.
Mayan. Yeah. There's definitely the shadow side in the Western astrology, but that's like more like we're looking at 7th house stuff or Lilith stuff, like anything that's in the subconscious, maybe the 12th house.
That's it.
So, yeah.
But because I learned that the more I learned about the shadow side, the more I understood the light side.
Right.
You need that duality, and dramas are not automatic. But when I started doing readings with that, my understanding and my interpretations of the positive side just triple, quadruple, and every reading gave me more and more information. But definitely, I call it cycle, and I'm a Mayan psychoanalyst
I like it.
because it cycles.
Yeah.
So I'm not a licensed, psychologist or psychotherapist or anything, but I swear, when I do readings, people get complete shifts in their path because they've been struggling.
Right. Right.
And a lot of it is also, I love that there's all these modalities, astrology, people use the tarot, or now we have this Mayan calendar stuff. Is that we're always on the path, and we get to a place where we don't understand our direction or our purpose, and that's what it is. It's about finding something that gives us the direction that we need to go to, because
Yeah.
we keep going into these rabbit holes. We see something's, oh, that's great, and then there we are. We just wasted another 2 years, and then we come back. We end up back where we started before we ran into that rabbit hole, and but we keep doing that if we're just blind,
Right.
and
Right.
and then we don't understand our own personal makeup. And so, what I love about the Mayan work is that it's all about natural. So there's a difference between natural and normal. And I grew up Catholic, so not like a practicing hardcore Catholic, but I grew up in that world. That's normal. Any other whatever phase or whatever, we follow normal. And if you don't, they want to keep you in that normal. Like, this is a straight line. Stay on the line. Kind of.
Yeah.
Let's be normal. If you veer off the line, then you're weird, or you're abnormal, but in the Mayans, it's like, no, you're just natural. What is natural to you? And I love that it applies to whether the man or woman, or you're from this country, or you grew up in Africa, or you grew up in South America or Afghanistan, or what. And then there's all these different cultural traditions, right? And this Mayan thing, and probably astrology too, it bypasses all that.
100%. And for me, like, what I liked about getting a reading from you is that, like, I think that we live in a society that wants us all to achieve the goals that we were meant to, like, yesterday. And then we all are kind of sapped with this guilt of, like, well, I didn't accomplish it within this past month, or I didn't accomplish it within this last year. And the thing is, one of the things that I learned in your readings is that there's like a revving up that happens. Like year 1, you're not going to have the finished product. Don't even think about it. Like, I'm going to be starting to share with the audience. My eagle, I'm starting. Could you tell actually a little bit about what I'm going to be starting? A little mini reading for the audience here, real quick.
Yeah, well, when every cycle of the 13, every 13 moon cycle, it has the 13 moons. Each moon has a name and has energy, and it's a process. It's like, so when you're starting a cycle, it's like that, like the beginning. What do I have to? What are the tasks? What am I dealing with? And so it spells it out. Like for you, that one is it's about identifying purpose and goals. Well, that makes sense, right? When you're starting a project, when you're starting something new, you have to identify the purpose and the goals. But it's almost like asking a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's a huge question, and it can be overwhelming. So my interpretation was, I call it the window shopping. Like, let's reduce it down to window shopping. Let's not put so much pressure on ourselves, because when we're just in the natural sense of being, and that's why I'm a Taoist, right? Going with the flow. The first moon is called magnetic, so we're going to be attracting
Multiple opportunities.
multiple opportunities, and it's being laid out for us if we're trusting. But we're exposing ourselves to the universe in many ways. But with the sense, if you're window shopping, if you go in with this direct, this is what it has to be, then we could completely miss it, because
Right.
we have blinders now, and our lenses now has been narrowed. So window shopping actually widens our lens,
Right.
per se. So
And
that
so in the 13-year cycle, that year one is what we're doing. And so, yeah, pretty much like with, that really is useful to see that, like, it doesn't all have to happen
Right.
year one, year two, year three, year four,
and
whatever.
don't worry, it's coming. It's
Yeah.
a process. It's a process.
And that's a beautiful, just that concept alone is like a beautiful way of appreciating time. And we also don't really see time in decades, let alone 13 years. And I mean, it goes by fast. It goes.
And it's natural time. I'm glad you brought that
natural
up,
time.
because the other thing I learned doing this work with the Mayan is that there's two time vibrations. There's a 1260. We call it the 1260, which is the 12 month, or 12. The clock, the 12-hour, and the 60-minute thing. So 1260 is a vibration. Time is money, and we know that very well. The world knows that. The world operates from that vibration. Time is money, because of that artificial calendar.
Wow, I never thought about it that way, but that's true.
Yeah, and the clocks, it's an artificial time. I mean, just because the watch says this is the time, but that's in time is money vibration. The Mayan, they called the other vibration 1320, the 13 moons. And by the way, the 20 tribes, one of the main reasons they came up with 20 tribes is we're the only species with 20 digits, 10 fingers, 10 toes. And in their world, even monkeys, nothing had 20 digits but humans. So humans were very special species on the planet, and that's how the Mayans considered us. As a matter of fact, in Jose's dream spell, we came from the Pleiades. We're not even from this planet. We're another, we're beings from.
I mean, I'm down.
Yeah.
I believe it.
If you get a copy of the dream spell and read the story, it's an amazing galactic story. But the natural time, the 1320 vibration is time is art. And that just exploded my creative little mind. And so a lot of artists, just when they hear that, they want to know more from this Mayan stuff, and that's what the readings do also. It connects us to the natural time. It connects us to time as art. And so this inner astrology or time map will show a person what is their connection to natural time, not just time, but natural time, and who are they naturally?
Right.
What are my
Right. Right. Right.
natural gifts? What are my natural, and what are my natural like things that bother me? That people There's gonna be certain people that don't jive, and then this will tell you why, and this will tell you what type of person are your most competitive type of people, and I call it not so much the people, their energy.
Right.
So it gives me information what I should avoid. Like don't bother with that. Don't put energy and time on that, or invest in that. Here, this is what I should be investing in, and the more I follow that, then I stop falling into rabbit holes. Is that these build? There's a
Right.
yes.
Right.
There's a
Right.
yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. Wow. Well, I know that time is of the essence. And I do want to talk a little bit about, and thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your wisdom. And this won't be the last time, y'all who are listening, that we're going to talk about this and to go into great detail about. I mean, it's just so much information. You can only digest so much at one time.
Nuggets.
Little nuggets. But we are going to be celebrating the day out of time, the Mayan day out of time. And can you express what are some intentions, what are some things that people can do on the day out of time for their own pleasure and joy? And then if y'all are out there listening and you are in the Austin area and you do want to come, you can take a look at the Partyful link, and I can, if there's still available people available, you're more than welcome to sign up. So yeah, tell us, what is this Mayan day out of time and what does it mean?
Well, again, we because there's 365 days in a solar year, and the Mayan calendar has 364 days, the 13 times 28. The Mayans celebrated it as Earth Day or Green Day, is what they also called it, a Green Day. My thought is that it was like not a business day, and it was more about art and about celebrating, Mother Earth and nature and the natural time, but mostly about art. Remember, time is art. So that would be the perfect day to really connect with that natural energy of time, is to celebrate it with just being creative and but taking a step back from our daily, grind of time is money kind of thing.
Right. My interpretation, may I share my interpretation, what I thought it would possibly mean, and maybe it still does mean this, I don't know, that it was like maybe a time to readjust your scope and like shift timelines. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, maybe I'm feeling that way because I'm ending a 13-year cycle, and I'm like, yeah, of course it's about shifting timelines, because I'm about to like prepare myself into like my year one of my like
quadruple
eagle phase of my life. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know what I'm gonna be coming up with next. So that's what I feel like.
Don't stand too close.
But I also feel like but I also feel like we still like there are some things that are inevitable, and we are kind of like, there's our energy, there's like the collective energy, and then there's this like the Earth's energy, and then there's this galactic energy, and like being able to like map it out and see it in from a distance. And I think that's what the readings do for me, from you, is like when I look at it from a distance, it's like, oh, there I was. This is where I'm at right now. This is where I'm going to, and this is where I will be. And it kind of takes the pressure off. You know what I mean? I do think that we can shift but maybe because I'm an eagle and I'm like, well, there's hundreds of ideas. We could just skew bad ideas, and now we'll just go over here and do this idea.
Well, your ego it's kind of like that. The ego has to fly high, separate its, step back, and fly high, so you see the bigger picture, and then you see the mouse, because even eagles on the ground and the mouse is 3 feet away, the ego can't see it. It needs to. The way the eagle's perspective works is you need to give yourself distance and to see the bigger. Again, you're widening the lens. and then you see everything clear. But you see the before, the the now, and the tomorrow thing. That's the beautiful widening of the lens to see the whole picture. In one of the one of the moons, the sixth moon, I call it the halftime. So we do it already. In sports, they halftime they always go into the locker to analyze and assess what happened on the first half, that what worked, what didn't work. So yeah, you're right. If we take that day at a time, we're just stepping back and looking at the bigger picture and just assessing, the what worked and what didn't work. So then we can come back smarter. We can come back with, some wisdom from what we just learned, what we
Right.
just did. So we don't just keep making the same mistakes. We have to literally separate ourselves from the event so that we can, which is life, right? Life is an event, a constant moving event. Yeah, take a time to step back and look at it from, especially, but not being engaged.
Right.
Because if you're engaged, you're not able to pay attention to the big picture. So that would be a good exhale moment to, look
And
at
a
your
reason to
life.
party.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Have some cacao. But
Cool.
I also wanted to give a sense of what Mayan, because we're ending Mayan 2024.
Right. Which
And
is kind of confusing for people
yeah,
because they're like, no, that started in January.
yeah,
Well, if you follow the Gregorian calendar, it did start in January, but not the
right.
Mayans.
And the reason the Mayans picked July, the end of July, as the beginning of the new year, so we're moving into Mayan 2025 in July 26, is because of Venus. This is where the other
Right.
astrological event. They're astronomers, and Venus disappears from the sky twice, and she reappears in beginning of January. So the Romans pick January as the beginning of their year, the Roman calendar, and then the Mayans pick. She disappears and reappears again in the end of July. So that's why they pick July, the end of July, as the Mayan New Year. So yes, July 26th will be Mayan New Year 2025.
And could you give us a little sneak peek into what this coming year is going to be about, or do we want to save that for those who get to come to the party?
Well, I'm gonna have to save it because I haven't looked at it. I wasn't prepared to give you that right now.
That's fine. That's fine.
But it's a lot because again, the planet also goes through the waves, just like a person's chart. The planet has his own chart.
Venus does.
No, the Earth.
Oh,
The Earth. So when the Earth goes, it's going to go through a shift in July 26th. It like you're moving into a one or a magnetic moon year. So the Earth does the same thing, and so when the Earth shifts in July 26th, we all shift.
Right.
Shift happens, by the way, and so yes, it's a very and we're probably you're feeling it already.
I do. I feel it a
You don't
lot.
have to wait till July 26th to feel that shift. It starts to come to us. What's about to happen? And so you're open. It's all I can say is ever since I started doing this, it's amazing how accurate it is.
Yeah.
It
Oh
is
my God.
so
Yeah.
freaking accurate.
Yeah.
This is ancient information. I'm just interpreting the ancient wisdom that they gave us, that left for us. But I've done 900 plus readings. It scares people how much it brings up about them.
Yeah. I agree with 100%. I agree with it. Like and even as a Western astrologer, like I don't like to mess around with predictive astrology because one, I really like for people to like make up their own minds, and also it's so hard to do but with like this month or this week or this that like to predict that kind of stuff, like versus like 13 years. It just feels right. Oh, that makes sense. Because it's like more of a spread. But I really like it. Thank you again so much for coming on Astrology Obsessed, and just sharing your wisdom. I'm sure there's going to be other astrologers that are listening to this, as well as newbies and oldies. And I just want to say thank you so much for your wisdom and your time. And I know this isn't the last time I want you on here to talk more about astrology. And maybe we'll go more into the interpretations, all those kinds of things. Maybe you could do like a mini reading on someone who's never gotten a reading done before, and kind of give people a little like taste of what it is like to experience that. But I want to say, first of all, thank you so much for anyone out there who's listening right now. I appreciate your time. If you're interested in Mayan astrology, where can they find you? On Facebook
or through Fox
or through Fox RedSky. You can always contact me, and I'll patch you through. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I am sending you lots of cosmic love wherever you are. And if you're not able to make it to the Mayan astrology or Mayan Day at a Time party that we're throwing down on July 25th here in Austin, Texas, wherever you are in the world, I am wishing you nothing but luck and love and abundance, and just that you have the best possible divine alignment you can possibly have. Yeah. So thank you so much, and God bless.
Can I leave them with one last thought?
Sure, go ahead.
If you want to know who you are, find out when you are.
Oh.